4:20.
Hello, welcome back to our live coverage of the UN Climate Talks. It's 4:20 in the morning here, I've just found out, and we're going to give you some analysis of the coverage that you've been watching for the last few hours. I'm delighted to welcome Wendel Trio of Greenpeace. Wendel, what should we make of all this?
Well, I think that the decisions that have been made here have been unexpected in a way, because what we've seen since Copenhagen and all of the preparatory meetings that we had before coming to Cancun, that we had little expectations of really getting something out of here. And whilst we went beyond those expectations, we have a number of decisions that clearly offer opportunities for further negotiations running up to Durban at the end of next year, as well as for campaigning in capitals, well, in countries, to ensure that some of the agreements that were made here will really lead to change. So I think that's, in a sense, very important. The negotiations continue and we can work with it at the national level.
And people have been very concerned about the process over these last 2 weeks, and they were worried because they thought that if we didn't achieve something here, it would come in for a lot of criticism. As it is kind of some concern that the process is being transformed from within, this idea of consensus is being shifted because of kind of the sidestepping of Bolivia's objections. Is that a worry, or is that kind of a side issue that we shouldn't concern ourselves with too much?
Well, I think that in terms of transparency and the process, etc., that the Mexican government really has done an extremely good job in trying to be as inclusive as possible. I mean, it's quite a challenge to have 190 countries negotiate with each other and come to conclusions, even if you have 14 days time. So I think it's been a challenge, and they've taken that up, and they've done, I think, a pretty good job for what it is. There's always problems in such a process. The issue of Bolivia, I think, is something special. It's clear that the Bolivian government has a number of positions that we duly support, and their concerns are very correct. I'm only not sure whether trying to veto an agreement where 190 countries agree to, whether that is a smart objective. And I'm also not sure where it would have led us, because if Mexican government would have allowed Bolivia to really veto this process, then I think we wouldn't have had any outcome coming out of Cancun, which I'm not sure whether that would have helped us. So I think they've kind of found an elegant solution to this.
And after Copenhagen last year, I think there was a bit of a hangover for the climate movement, for people trying to work towards a UN deal. Are we going to see the opposite this year, do you think? Do you think this is going to give us some new momentum, and kind of the intersessional conferences coming up? Could we hope for big things?
Well, I think definitely that it's going to give an additional stimulus. It was clear that after Copenhagen that the climate movement realized that we had to intensify the work we're doing at the national level. I think this agreement is going to give a boost to that, so that we're really going to use that to do more national campaigning. And at the same time, I think, yes, people will believe again that this process might lead to something, and there probably will be more engagement to follow, to monitor what is going to happen at the different meetings that will be established for next year, in the different preparatory meetings. And yeah, I think we might get again a bit more of public mobilization towards South Africa.
And just finally, around about lunchtime today, I asked Nemo Bassi what he thought the headlines would be, and he said he thought it would be Cancun couldn't, which was perhaps a bit unfair of me to ask him so early in the day, but that's clearly not what the headlines are going to be now. Do you have a sense of when things shifted? Because there was a complete transformation in the atmosphere here.
Yeah, well, actually last night a lot happened in very extreme small groups and during bilateral meetings with ministers, etc. And out of these small groups came a number of came progress, but progress on individual subjects, an adaptation or a mitigation or whatever. But all of that progress wasn't really captured, because there was always one or two countries who said, well, this is fine for me, but we're not going to accept that unless we get something else in another subject. So everything got linked to each other. And during the day, again, the Mexican presidency, with the help of many other ministers and facilitators, have brought all of that together and have built this package. And luckily, when they brought this together, we could go two ways. There could be so much blockages, etc., that we would go down, or there could be some openness that we went up. And I think we have went up. I think we really, from where we were last night, we went to almost the best thing that we could get within the current current circumstances, which is way not enough, because we need this global deal, fair, ambitious, etc., which we needed in Copenhagen, which we still haven't got. So we still need that deal, so we're not happy in the sense that the work is not done. There's still much more to do, but I think many of us were surprised by how quick the process went after the first 10 days of this conference, where we didn't make much progress.
Excellent. Well, the best that we can get in the circumstances is maybe something we should be relatively happy about, at least. Wendel, thanks very much for joining us, and maybe we'll see you in equally happy circumstances next year.
Let's hope.